Billionaire CEO Alex Carter donned a baseball cap and entered his own store, disguised as a new employee named Mike. No one recognized him, not the cashiers, not the security guard, and certainly not the manager, Brad Miller. Alex had come undercover to investigate a troubling situation, but nothing could prepare him for the desperate sobbing coming from the employee restroom. Through the crack under the door, he spotted a silver name badge, Maria Lopez, custodial staff. The crying revealed a woman whose world was crumbling. Just 3 months ago, corporate had received glowing reports about this location, perfect employee satisfaction scores and 0 complaints. But Maria's tears told a different story. "Are you okay in there?" Alex knocked gently. The sobbing stopped, and Maria emerged, her eyes red and her hands shaking. "I'm fine. Just give me a minute," she said, but her voice betrayed her distress. Maria explained that her daughter, Lily, needed heart surgery, but she couldn't afford it. "They keep cutting my hours," she said, gesturing to a chaotic schedule board. "Mr. Miller says it's corporate policy, but I don't understand. The store is always busy." Alex's blood boiled as he realized the manipulation at play. He learned that Maria and other employees were being denied consistent hours and health insurance. The pieces began to form a picture of systematic abuse under Brad Miller's management. The next morning, Alex watched as Brad berated Maria for her work, cutting her hours further. Alex felt compelled to intervene but knew he had to gather evidence first. He recorded Brad's threats and manipulations, revealing a pattern of wage theft and intimidation. As the night shift progressed, Alex witnessed Brad's cruelty firsthand. He saw how Brad docked hours and manipulated schedules, all while Maria struggled to keep up with impossible demands. Alex realized this wasn't just about Maria, it was about a system that allowed predators like Brad to thrive. After gathering enough evidence, Alex confronted Brad during a mandatory inventory meeting. He revealed his true identity and played the recordings, exposing Brad's abuses to the shocked employees. "I'm Alex Carter, CEO of this company, and you're finished, Brad." The room erupted in gasps and murmurs as employees processed the revelation. Brad's face turned pale and he stammered, "You can't do this. I have rights." But Alex stood firm, knowing he had the evidence to back up his actions. With Brad escorted out, Alex addressed the employees, promising to restore their wages and implement new policies to protect them. "No one should have to suffer like this," he declared. "We will ensure that every employee is treated with respect and dignity." Maria was offered the store manager position, a role she had never imagined she could hold. "You've shown incredible strength, Maria," Alex said. "You know this store and its people better than anyone. I believe you can lead them." The transformation didn't stop there. Alex established an employee council to ensure their voices would be heard in future decisions. "This council will give you direct access to management," he explained. "If something goes wrong, you'll have a way to address it without fear of retaliation." 3 weeks later, Alex returned to the store to find a transformed environment. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and camaraderie. Employees were thriving, and Maria was now confidently leading the team. She had implemented new training programs and encouraged her colleagues to share their ideas. "Maria, how are the management courses going?" Alex asked, settling into the chair across from her desk. "Challenging," Maria admitted, saving her work and looking up with a smile. "I never thought I'd be learning about profit margins and employee development strategies, but it's amazing what makes sense when you've actually worked every job in the building." She gestured to a chart on her wall showing employee satisfaction scores. The numbers had skyrocketed from Brad's abysmal ratings to industry-leading levels in just 3 weeks. "The team is incredible," Maria continued. "Once people stopped being afraid, they started bringing me ideas. Tommy suggested cross-training everyone so nobody feels trapped in one department. Sarah designed a new customer feedback system. Even the part-time high school kids are contributing innovations." Alex looked through the office window at the sales floor, where he could see the tangible results of Maria's leadership. Employees moved with purpose rather than fear. Customers were actually smiling as they interacted with staff who seemed genuinely happy to help. "How's Lily doing?" Alex asked. Maria's entire face lit up. "She had her surgery last week. The doctors say the repair was perfect. She'll be able to run and play like any other kid. Her voice caught slightly. She wants to meet you. She calls you the man who saved Mommy's job. I'd like that very much. There's something else, Maria said, pulling out a folder. Remember how you asked me to document any other situations like what happened with Brad? Alex leaned forward, his attention sharpening. I've been talking to managers at other retail chains, not officially, just conversations at industry meetups. Alex, what Brad was doing, it's not uncommon. The wage theft, the benefit manipulation, the psychological abuse. It's almost like there's a playbook being passed around. She opened the folder to reveal a compilation of stories from workers across the retail sector. I think Carter Enterprises could lead an industry-wide change. Not just fixing our own problems, but setting a standard that forces everyone else to follow. Alex felt that familiar electricity of a big idea taking shape. What are you thinking? A certification program. Worker-verified fair employment or something like that. Stores that meet the standards get the certification. Customers can choose to shop at places that treat employees fairly. And the verification comes from the workers themselves, not corporate self-reporting. Exactly. Anonymous surveys, surprise audits, real accountability. Maria's eyes were bright with passion. We've got the credibility now. Everyone knows Carter Enterprises was willing to investigate and fix its own problems publicly. Other companies would have to follow suit or look terrible by comparison. Alex sat back, impressed by the strategic thinking. Draft a proposal, a full business plan, implementation strategy, budget requirements. I want to see it within 2 weeks. Maria nodded, already making notes. As Alex prepared to leave, he took one more walk through the store. Near the electronics section, he spotted the bulletin board where Brad's chaotic scheduling had once terrorized employees. Now, it displayed a clean, predictable schedule where every employee knew their hours weeks in advance, alongside photos from the store's first-ever employee appreciation picnic at the customer service desk. A familiar sight caught his eye, the same silver name badge that had fallen to the bathroom floor a month ago, but now it read Maria Lopez, store manager. And it was pinned to a blazer instead of a custodial uniform that as he headed for the exit, Tommy called out from behind the electronics. Counter, Mr. Carter, before you go, we wanted to give you something. Tommy produced a framed photo. The entire store team gathered around the new employee break room, which had been renovated with comfortable seating, a proper kitchenette, and large windows that let in natural light. In the center of the group, Maria held a small plaque that read, Carter's Department Store Employee Choice, Best Place to Work 2024. It's not an official award, Tommy explained with a grin. We made it ourselves, but we figured if anyone should decide whether a place is good to work, it should be the people who actually work there. Alex accepted the photo, feeling an unexpected tightness in his throat. In all his years of business success, no recognition had meant more. Thank you, he said simply. All of you. As he walked to his car, Alex reflected on how profoundly the last month had changed not just this store, but his entire understanding of leadership. He'd started this journey thinking he was rescuing his employees from a bad manager. Instead, they'd rescued him from becoming the kind of leader who loses sight of why businesses exist in the first place. To serve people, not just profits. Tomorrow he would begin implementing the employee council system company-wide. Next month, Maria's industry certification program would get its full corporate backing. But tonight, he would go home knowing that 15 people were sleeping better because someone had finally listened when they needed help most. 6 months after that life-changing night shift, Alex stood before a packed auditorium at the National Retail Federation's annual conference, the subject of his keynote address, Leadership from the Ground Up. What happens when CEOs stop hiding in boardrooms? But first, he had a story to tell. Last year, I thought I was running a successful company, Alex began, his voice carrying across the silent auditorium. Our profits were up, our efficiency ratings were stellar, and our management reviews were glowing. By every metric that mattered to Wall Street, Carter Enterprises was crushing it. He clicked to the next slide. A photo of Maria in her custodial uniform taken from the store's security footage on that first night. But I wasn't leading a successful company. I was presiding over a system that allowed good people to suffer while predators profited from their pain. And the worst part? I had no idea it was happening. The auditorium remained completely silent as Alex walked the audience through his undercover experience, the wage theft, the benefit fraud, the systematic psychological abuse that had been happening under his own company's name. The truth is, real leadership isn't about commanding from above. It's about understanding from below. It's about recognizing that the people closest to the problem are usually closest to the solution. He clicked again. The new slide showed Maria at her desk wearing her store manager blazer, reviewing quarterly reports with her team. Today, Maria Lopez manages one of our highest performing locations. Employee satisfaction is at an industry-leading 94%. Customer ratings have increased 47%. And profits? They're up 23%. Because when you treat people right, everything else follows. Alex gestured to the audience where Maria sat in the front row, representing Carter Enterprises at her first national conference. But this story isn't really about Carter Enterprises. It's about every company, every leader, every person who has the power to make someone else's day better or worse. The presentation continued with concrete results. The worker-verified fair employment certification that 12 major retailers had already adopted, the industry-wide wage theft investigations that had recovered $2.3 million for workers, the federal legislation strengthening labor protections that had been inspired by their public disclosure. We've proven that doing right by employees isn't just morally correct, it's profitable. Companies with worker-verified certification are seeing average profit increases of 18% and customer loyalty improvements of 31%. As Alex concluded his presentation, he returned to the personal story that had started it all. 6 months ago, I heard someone crying in a bathroom and decided to investigate. That moment of basic human curiosity changed everything, not just for Maria, not just for Carter Enterprises, but for thousands of workers across the industry. He paused, looking directly into the cameras that were broadcasting this keynote live. So, here's my challenge to every leader watching this. When was the last time you really listened to the people who work for you? Not in a scripted meeting or a sanitized survey, but really listened? When did you last see your workplace through the eyes of someone who can't afford to lose their job? Alex stepped closer to the edge of the stage. Real leadership means lifting others up, especially when nobody's watching. It means using your power to protect people, not profit from their vulnerability. And it means having the courage to admit when your systems are broken and the determination to fix them. The final slide appeared, a photo of the Carter Enterprises Employee Council meeting with representatives from all 47 stores gathered around a table as equals. The person crying in that bathroom could be in your company right now. The question is, will you hear them? And more importantly, will you act? As applause thundered through the auditorium, Alex felt the same satisfaction he'd experienced that night when Brad Miller was escorted from the store. But deeper than satisfaction was something else, purpose. After the presentation, as Alex signed copies of the case study that Harvard Business School had written about the Carter transformation, a young executive approached him. Mr. Carter, I think we might have some issues at our company that are similar to what you found. Where do I start? Alex handed him Maria's business card. Start by listening. Really listening. And when you hear something you don't like, don't rationalize it away. Fix it. Later that evening, Alex called the store to check in with Maria, a ritual that had become part of his weekly routine. How's Lily doing? He asked. Perfect. Her cardiologist says her heart is stronger than most kids her age. She's been asking when she can visit the store again. She wants to see Mama's office. Bring her by anytime. I'd love to meet the little girl who helped save our company. Alex, Maria's voice grew serious. I got a call today from a custodial worker at Henderson Retail. She'd seen the news coverage and wanted to know if our employee council model could work at other companies. What did you tell her? Was that okay? Alex smiled. That was perfect. You're thinking like a real leader now. After hanging up, Alex stood at his office window, looking out at the Detroit skyline. Somewhere out there, in retail stores and restaurants and warehouses, there were probably other Marias, Good people trapped in bad situations, waiting for someone with power to notice their pain. But now there were also other Alex Carters, leaders who'd heard this story and decided to look more closely at their own companies, their own responsibilities. Change was spreading one workplace at a time. And it had all started with someone brave enough to knock on a bathroom door and ask a simple question, "Are you okay?" The truth had been worse than anyone imagined. But the solution had been simpler than anyone expected. Treat people like human beings, and everything else falls into place.